Welcome. This is RiaTalk for Real People, where we're always keeping it real about real life. And here's your host, Maria.
Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Real Talk. This is Real Talk. I'm talking to real people, for real people, and about real people. Let's talk.
Okay, let's talk. So, I received a message from you earlier today, and you wanted to talk about the sanctity of life. What about the sanctity of life? What are we going to talk about?
We're going to talk about life, all life. It's kind of like during the Black Lives Matters movement. They said Black Lives Matter. And then you had, I guess, an anti-Black Lives Matter group that said all life matters. And the response from Black Lives Matter was, if all life matters, why so many Black people dying at the hands of cops? If all life matter, I guess you included my life too. I mean, we make up 11 to 13% of the American population, but by percentage wise, more of us was dying by cops. So anyway, but that's not what I want to talk about today. I want to talk about life. What spurred me to talk about this is the death of my mom on July 3rd, 2021. My mom, she was a trooper. She was a fighter. She raised me to be a fighter. When my sister Veronica decided that she would challenge my power of attorney and my advance directive that mom had signed and everything. And we went into litigation with Atrium Navicent. This is a little hard for me. I apologize.
That's okay. Take your time.
I heard the psychiatrist that was speaking with mom. I guess she was trying to make a determination why my mom was fighting for her life, and an interrogation of my mom in the intensive care unit, as if my mom had committed a crime just because she wanted to live and she wanted to come to California because nobody in Georgia was taking care of her. So tonight, speaking of the sanctity of life, does old people's life matters? That's what came to my mind. You hear that about babies all the time in the fight over abortion. When does life begin? Let me ask you something. When does life end? Do we have a choice to end our lives or we don't? My mom did not want to end her life. She talked to us over and over about, if something happens to me, fight for my life. Don't ever let me agree with them for me to die. So anyway, we know some people said life begins at conception. I too believe that. I do. Personally, that's my personal belief. Life begins at conception. But as I've always said, I believe God is the God of choice. And God gives us choices, and we make choices. We can make the choices, but we cannot make the consequences. But I think God said, choose ye this day who you would serve. My mom chose to live. The doctors and the staff and my sister Veronica, they decided that my mom would die. Not all the staff. I'm making a generalization. Uh, so does old people life matter? Or when they get to be so old and they've used a lot of their medical plan, like Medicare, Medicaid, and they've been in the hospital like my mom for two months. Have they used too much of their insurance? Now they must die. I don't know. It's old people because people may feel that they've used up most of their useful life. They're always useful. They may not be able to work anymore, but their life matters. Old people life matters. We all ready to fight for the babies. Who gonna fight for the elderly?
Mm-hmm.
Talking about the sanctity of life. The sanctity of life. It means life is sacred. It's almost like an inalienable right that God, it is inviolable that God has given us. And I think if anybody has a right to end their life, it would be the individual because God has given them a choice. I'm not fighting about that. I'm saying the doctors take a Hippocratic oath, but I'm sure there are many because I've researched it. Doctors are human. I tell people, don't you ever forget that, like Socrates. Socrates was a man. Man is human. Doctors are human. Don't give them more credit than they deserve. Some doctors are very good. They came to medicine to save, to heal, to make a difference in the world. Thank you. I love those doctors. I have a doctor like that. My doctor is the best. So I'm not speaking of all doctors, but there are some evil ones out there who has a philosophy that they practice subtly or not subtly. Does old people life matter? Because they're sick, should we just end their lives? Is all life sacred? What do you think?
Are you asking me or is this a rhetorical question?
No, I'm asking you.
I think that it depends, like you're talking about like old people and they get discarded, but not all old people get discarded. I think it's sometimes
Is it okay, even though not all old people get discarded? So is it okay to discard some of them?
I don't think so, but what I was saying is that, I think sometimes it also comes down to money because it seems like
But
old.
should it ever in a rich country like America? This is America. We love to say this is the greatest country in the world. You mean we're not rich enough to support our elderly after they've given their whole life to this country? If not directly, indirectly. They have children who serve in the military, who serve in nonprofit. When you have children, you don't know what you're going to raise. You may raise a person that's going to find cures, make the world a better place. I often think of the man. This is a story about the man who was walking on the beach with his son, and he saw a lot of starfish on the beach, hundreds, maybe thousands, and they were throwing them back into the water. And as they kept walking, the little boy said, "Dad, there's so many starfish. I guess throwing up back in the water doesn't make any difference. That because there's thousands of them still here. What difference does it make?" His father said, "Son, it made a difference to the ones we threw back." Talking about the sanctity of life. Go ahead. I'm sorry I didn't stop you.
No, I was just saying that, I agree with you. It's unfair because it seems like older, old rich, um, old rich people tend to live, you know, they'll be on ventilators and everything. And you're like, why is this person still living? Because you could see that they're on death's door, but they got them hooked up to tubes. Basically, the machines are running them. And it's all because they're rich.
And I think the machine should run them as long as they want to live. Because we never I always say live. You never know what's going to come down the pipe. New medicines, new cures for maybe what's ailing them. I believe in the sanctity of life. Life is not inviolable. I mean, life is inviolable. We can't just kill people. We should not kill people. Whether it's old people, homeless people, poor people, people that have committed bad crimes. We should let them spend their lives in prison. If life is precious, let's put it just in lay terms. Life is precious. How often have we heard that? Life is precious. Some people want to end their lives. I'm not going to speak on that because I believe God is a God of choice. When it comes to people making personal choices, I pull back. But for me and my house, we will believe in the sanctity of life. If I got to choose life or choose death, I choose life.
Mm-hmm.
And so that is what I was thinking. I was saying, people love to say, when does life begin? We don't ponder the question. Our society is getting older. And if you're blessed, you will be older. Shouldn't we ask these questions before you get old when somebody got to make a decision on you? My mom told us years, and she said every year, often, so often, fight for me if something happens. If I'm on the machine, let me stay. This I'm just talking how my mom talked.
Mm-hmm.
She wasn't a very educated person,
Right.
but she had a lot of common sense. And she was a believer in God. And I'm not going to be ashamed of being a believer. My mom was a believer.
Mm-hmm.
I said, let God decide. If my mom, I would not be so sad if I knew God decided, but I believe. And some of what I have researched seems to show just what I'm thinking. Mom did not die because she wanted to or because God decided. I believe her death was accelerated
Mm-hmm.
by
Mm-hmm.
people that were supposed to be taking care of her.
Mm-hmm.
We're going back to, does all life matter? Does all life matter?
Right.
Does all people life matter? Do we get to just throw away our elderly? Should they? I remember in the Bible said, honor your father and your mother so
Mm-hmm.
that your life will be long on the earth that the Lord thy God given thee. America, don't we owe something to our elderly people? They gave to us this country. Shouldn't we take care of them in their old age? Even take care of their medical? This is a rich country. We can't afford to take care of our elderly people. We haven't come to the point in America where resources are so scarce, we got to decide who lives and who dies. Who dies? We haven't come there. I hope we never get that. I hope that we get to honor our elderly. They are our parents in a way. Now, maybe not our blood parents. They're somebody's parents.
Mm-hmm.
Don't you believe you? We got people blowing up abortion clinics, people fighting all these states, Georgia, Texas, all these states, you know, all these what they call Bible Belt states that reversing abortion laws. I'm not fighting for that. I'm not fighting about that. Like I said, I'm a person of choice, my personal choice. I feel like that is so personal. I don't have any say. It's just like coming people marriage and teaching, forcing people how to raise their children. The state telling you how to raise your children, but you got to raise them. But they're giving you instruction book. This is what you have to do to raise your children.
Mm-hmm.
We in America, we talk about freedom. We have to give people choices. Let people choose. I know there are boundaries of the law. I can appreciate that. In a civil society, there must be boundaries, laws, and exceptions. But I'm talking about caring about our elderly people. They say, I'm not going to get on this last subject because it relates to it. I just want to tell people, I don't know how many minutes we have, but I just want to tell you something. If you hear a policeman tell you that you have been detained, that's a sneaky way of telling you you are arrested. You're waiting for him to say you are under arrest. They don't do that now because they want to keep you talking. They're very deceptive. If you hear the word detain, and you always ask, am I free to go? Or attempt to leave. And if they hold you, you are under arrest. Rarely now do they use that word. You're under arrest. They love that word detain. Now in medicine, as I've already told you people, at every opportunity, when you go to your doctor's office, anything medical, take someone with you. Mm-hmm. You don't know what they're going to tell you. You may get surprised and you be out of focus. You thought you heard something. Take someone with you. Second, third of all, and lastly, when you hear the term palliative care, here I am thinking I'm getting ready to take my mom to California. I'm getting a call from a lady trying to say something about your mom's palliative care. I'm like, palliative care? What happened? These people have blocked me, told me nothing. Atrium Nevison took over my mom's choices. They took her choice away. Mm-hmm. It's like they took away. They've done with this situation. Mm-hmm. They've taken away women's choices. They take away family choices. It's become a slippery slope.
Right.
When will we, America, be free, have real freedom, where families get to choose? We were not abusing my mom, and I most certainly did not abuse my mom. They false imprisoned her. She wanted to leave. They would not let her leave. She had a place to go, someone to take care of her. I can't get an attorney to help me because she was 76. How much life? She was sickly. We don't know. Sometimes the sickest people live the longest. Mm-hmm. The sanctity of life. When you hear them talking about things like palliative care, hospice, all of that. See, I knew about hospice, but right. I knew about palliative, but I wasn't fully aware of it. But I knew that somebody that's very sick and need to manage their pain. I didn't know it was related to death. But basically, he was telling me, without the doctor or any representative of the doctor telling me that my mom was dying. Mm-hmm. I'm like, what happened? Mm-hmm. And I'm still asking, what happened? What happened? What happened? It's not in her medical record. What the doctor said to me face to face and what they put in her medical records are different. Mm-hmm. I wish I had a lawyer that would care enough to take on a case like this. I'm going to keep trying until the statute of limitations is up. But I started thinking, oh, we care about life. Many Americans care about life, if not most. I would venture to say most Americans. We may have different views, but I would venture to say most Americans, we care about life. We want people to live. So when do we stop caring for the elderly? When does an elderly person's life becomes not valued anymore? Well, you know what I'm saying? Is it okay for a doctor to go against a family wishes and accelerate the death of a patient? Is it okay to deprive a patient of water or any other life-sustaining nourishment? We're fighting over youth over Asia, which is assisted suicide. Euthanasia is assisted suicide when a patient wants to die because they have an incurable disease. My mom wasn't that person.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't tell me she had an incurable disease. Now she had dialysis. She had kidney failure, but she was living with it. She hadn't even lived with it 10 years. I know people been living with using dialysis for 20 years. Uh, I just want to say again, here's some buzzwords: palliative care, uh, hospice, and be careful. Get, please, please, people, especially, almost especially speak to Black people. Before you, yourself, I'm speaking to you. I don't care that you're 30 years old. I don't care that you're 35. I don't care that you're 40, 50 years old. Get advance directive. Get a power of attorney so the hospital doesn't get the chance to make the decision about your life. That
Mm-hmm.
someone that really loves you would make the decision in a loving way. Mom, I will miss you for the rest of my life, Mama. And I'm fighting for justice, Mama.
Well, I think we're going to cut it off from there. This is really emotional. So, I think that this is a good stopping point. So that's it for RiaTalk, where we're always keeping it real about real life. Please leave your comments and your compliments on our Instagram page at RiaTalk. And please like, follow, and subscribe to RiaTalk. And we will see you next week.